No, it wasn't a scheme issue. We broke down on some techniques, which we cleaned up in the second half. When I went into the second half, I said, guys, they're not beating us, we're beating ourselves. And they settled down in the second half and played.
Talk about the problems that Cooper Rush presents you guys.
Yeah, he's good. Obviously, when you get a year older, anybody that gets a year older, they improve dramatically. Just like our players do, whether defense, offense, special teams, whatever. Once you get in a system and you can play, because Morris Watts has been there, even though it's a new head coach, Morris Watts has been there with these guys. So I expect them to improve every year.
When you look back at the way the secondary played throughout the Wake Forest game, how do you kind of assess their performance?
We had a mistake, in technique with Witt. It was just a mistake in technique, which is going to happen when you put them out there on the island a lot. The other plays were just fundamental stuff. It wasn't like they busted mental assignments. It was just what we call it missed technique. They didn't do the proper technique, and then they started cleaning it up in the second half.
When corners kind of play soft or press, how much of that is play-by-play? How much of it is the feel of the game?
No, it's usually by what the offense is telling you and what they're giving you, is how you play your secondary. As the game, you have a game plan going in, and as the game progresses, you change that game plan as what they're trying to attack.
It seemed like there were only a couple times where there's a quick 8-yard in, kind of an easy first down where a guy was playing soft. Were those intentional? Was that kind of by scheme, or would you have liked to see your guys close a little bit more?
No, they did a good. Wake Forest did a good job, because as you saw, the quarterback checks the sideline, so really he's checking the press box, and so the guy, the coach in the press box, is seeing what you're doing, and he's switching. Now you can get into faking and do a lot of stuff, and then all of a sudden you make a mistake, or you can just play your defense, settle it down, switch it up a little bit on them, and that's what we did in the second half.
So when they threw those two bubble screens to the wide receiver, those both checks?
Oh, everything was checked.
Yeah.
I think everything on the whole game was where they always checked the sidelines and they went up and found the call.
Sure.
After the game, Coach Schaefer talked about Donnie Simmons' interception and everything he went through. What was that like for you to see him get that pick six, the first time he ever caught a ball in a collegiate game?
It was amazing. I said, are we sure that's Donnie? Donnie doesn't have the greatest hands, which most of our defense, I'm not picking on him, most of our defensive linemen don't have great hands. That's not their forte. But when he picked it and went in the end zone, I was ecstatic.
What's it been like for you to see him overcome that injury 2 years ago, play consistently but not a ton last year, and then just do very well through these first two games?
Well, he's now a senior, and every year you improve. And now he's not making the MAs that he did earlier, or I'm talking about all younger guys. They make these MAs earlier in their career, and by the time they become senior, just like last year, we had 8 seniors, there wasn't a lot of MAs. So the more you're in a system, the better you get accustomed to it and the better you play.
Were you worried at all about how he would play the last 2 years after that ACL injury and then missing the entire season his sophomore year?
No. Our training staff does a great job. Coach Hicks does a great job. I never worry about that when they're back ready to play, because it's different nowadays. We have spring ball, and then you have summer practices, which I didn't have when I was playing. But they actually practice when the coach is on vacation, so you never worry about a guy not picking up because they're practicing the whole summer.
As a senior on the defense, what does he do for the younger guys?
Donnie is not a vocal guy as much. He's more of a worker. He comes to work every day. So if I'm a younger guy and I'm looking at Donnie, I'm saying, okay, this is the way I should do it. I should work, because he comes to practice every day and works his tail off.
A couple more questions for Chuck.
Coach, what can you tell us about Central Michigan as far as offense, what they like to do? I mean, they took Okie State down to the wire. They had that crazy bowl game.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Wake Forest. The quarterback, you can see that he's much improved. Everybody that gets a year older gets much improved. They have a new offensive coordinator, Morris Watts, who actually coached me at Michigan State, was on the offensive side, but so he's been around a long time. He's a very intelligent guy. So we don't have a lot of tendencies on what he's going to do, because it's only been 2 games. So that'll be a game day, see what they're doing and what their plan is as we go through the game.